telling me about the state meeting this weekend. I wasn't there for the past president's bank that night and the breakfast next morning.
Yeah.
I was calling up pushing it.
They wanted to know where you were.
Lisa Dolan said, "You're cute." She's one of my favorites now.
She's a sweetie.
She's great.
I really like her.
She
She's
does
a
a great job.
professional and she's real
She
sweet.
does a great job. Things like the world you done, and that's good. Good. I'm pretty well. How you doing? I see you know you there. How are you doing?
Getting old.
And word came up on this. How you doing, buddy? Yeah, he did. Go down, buddy, with us.
You see her?
You got a trash can in there?
Okay, let me, yeah, got it.
How's Stanley's doing? How you been, big guy?
How's Miss Mandy doing?
Well, let's go over there.
Where'd Jerry go? Hey, Jerry, how you doing, son?
I was getting there at first. I don't come to see Bill. I ain't been,
You doing all right?
I've been kind of weak. Well, I know that. She's reading.
That's right. Hey, Jerry. Nice to see you.
You doing okay? Read about them, how about me?
That's gotta be
Yeah, get back in the groove now, okay?
Okay, all right.
Mandy? Here's your tag.
Get up front and look better, people. I can see better at a distance. You get that down and you can actually pick out things better.
Still kicking. That's right.
You're always on.
I'm trying to be. Some people won't let you. You've always been nice to me. Some people please me.
Well, that'd be helpful.
Well, he's supposed to.
How are you?
He knows that. Jared, he knows
Maybe,
that.
maybe.
Great, how's your summer going? Fly by, kids are already back in school. Just seems like they only get a few weeks in. It's great to see all.
So last week.
Hey, Kathy, do you want to read the letter?
I'll get you. Yeah, I got it.
Want to see a video of my dancer?
You're looking good.
Yeah, right, Her name is,
And I would say, now he's just getting back on.
Let's go and get started with our.
Let's go get started with our pre-session. Let's go over the agenda. We did have some changes and want to talk about some issues. Start off with the Pledge of Allegiance and prayer, public comment. Then on the consent agenda, does anybody have any questions about any consent agenda items or anything that would be brought up?
No.
All right, then we, why did that go out, Christopher? I was like, whoa.
No. I don't know, I think that's electronic.
You must have been in the mood, you must have been in the mood getting that
Yeah,
synthesizer.
at church, what we say, that mic's pretty hot, so somebody might want to pull that down just a little bit. It's pretty strong.
Then good news, we have former Commissioner Bill Stanley here. He's going to receive an award, and we're awfully glad to have you here, Bill, Jenny. You're a big part of the family, and we miss you. Proclamation, Commissioner Belcher is going to give a proclamation. Jeff Foster's here. Jeff, we really appreciate, sorry we didn't get this done last time, but we really appreciate you bringing up and reminding us about our Korean War veterans, of which Commissioner Stanley was on the front row. There's a little bit about that cool weather in Korea. We've talked about that several times. But thank you, Jeff. You'll be, Commissioner Belcher will meet you at the podium there to give that award proclamation. We have an energy update. Greg Israel. Greg, good to have you here. Are there any questions preliminarily? I don't think you have. Do you have a PowerPoint? No PowerPoint. You're going to just talk to us about what we're doing.
Where we are today.
Okay, good. All right.
Okay, do we need to, the CDA appointments, they're not being interviewed, say something about changing that?
Yes.
Interview them and then
Yes, thank you. Absolutely. One of the things, we don't have any new business. On the appointments and on the next meeting, we reviewed with the county manager and clerk about what we have for next week, and we don't have a lot on there. At least one commissioner is not going to be here, Commissioner Vice Chair Jones, and I would suggest that we just cancel the September 3rd meeting unless someone has strong objections. If that's good. So on the TDA, to get to Commissioner Belcher's question, we do have appointments. There has been a request to do interviews. This is extremely important for. We now have 3 vacancies. So if we could schedule everybody, I guess for the 17th, which would be our next meeting if we don't meet the 3rd. And then everybody should be here. And we can actually do a lot of appointments that day. Yeah, when is the deadline on TDA application? Well, wait a minute, did you say September 3rd or August 3rd? Okay, August, okay. Okay. All right, so we will do that the 17th. If you could, so on, really fast.
go for it.
What's Brady Newman do?
I don't know, I'm gonna slide
All right. So we will have on the 17th, we already had, I think, we had the CRA interviews that day.
Well, that was the question, deadline for the PRA is August the 3rd, but Holly won't be here on the 3rd if you're not needed, so you need to pick who you want to interview. Because I feel we'll have a lot like that. So you might want to choose on the 17th who you want to interview and then interview as well.
Okay. Yes, sir.
I'm the CRA, tonight, can we just do, there's 6 of us.
Can't hear back here.
Well, we might meet with
6 of us that's on the board, and you stay, the other 6 come off, and then let's figure out if we want 2, 3, 4 from this board to be on the new board.
On the 17th.
Does that work? Does that make it work?
I think everyone needs to be here, and then we make that decision. That's good, we just put that, okay, so that part, and then the non-commissioner members will go to the next meeting. Okay, is that good with everybody? Okay, great.
So when you said next meeting, you mean the October meeting?
Yeah, that one, October 1. Okay. Then we have, land, so we're gonna put off the TDA, we're gonna interview and talk to those, applicants. Land Conservation Advisory Board, we have one appointment, we just announced that the Culture and Recreation Authority, called CRA, we will be doing, interviews on the 17th. No, let's see, we're gonna do Tuesday interview on September 17th, and then interview October 1. Okay.
But we'll interview the TDA before we send it.
Right, so we have 2 sets, that'll be a long day for us, 2 sets of interviews.
Well, we actually interviewed, right, we're TDA on the 17th. We interviewed CRA on the 17th.
Okay.
Interview on the 17th.
Okay, gotcha, because they've got a lot of vacancies. All right, good. And then we have an airport authority vacancy that, we have 1 vacancy, and the deadline is August 3rd. All right. Now, a new matter of business I would like to add would be, in addition to the county manager's report, there have been some discussions about our salaries and the proposed consumer pricing increase. And we have to have unanimous agreement of this board. I would recommend that we go ahead and do this. Let's talk about this, ask the county manager for some background on this, and then if anyone wants to make about it, we discussed possible motion to work on this and go ahead and do that. Is that, you have to be unanimous consent. Is that all right with everybody? Okay, it needs to be a new business because of possible action. Okay. All right. That's fine. We'll do that under new business if that's all right with the board. And then we have an announcement. We have a resignation letter from our county attorney. And I would like to read into the record some information, some thoughts, and also his letter of resignation. We will also need to be setting up I think there's been a consensus of this board to have a part-time attorney serve as the advisor, and then we have appointed a committee to look at the long-term decision on what we do. So let's bring that up. Let's just put that in new business. Let's see, we're not taking action. We've already appointed a committee, so I guess that could go. Let's just do it in new business also. Or no, I guess announcements. Let's just do announcements before our, I'll do it at the end, because we're not taking action. All right, is that confusing everybody? We good? Well, most good enough. All right, we'll start in just a minute or two then. Thank you. Okay, start. I'd like to call to order the August 27, 2013 meeting of the Buncombe County Board of Commissioners. And as always, we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please join me.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. If you would pray with me, we'll have an invocation. God, thank you for all the teachers, administrative staff, students, parents, principals, and support staff who are in the process of coordinating the critical task of educating our children. Give our friends on the city and county school boards the wisdom and insight to help welcome back the students in a manner that encourages respect, good learning settings, and understanding how important education is to all of us in Buncombe County. Place in each student's heart a burning desire to improve his or her knowledge, get along with others, and push to succeed at whatever goals they choose to set for themselves. Remind us all to nurture the quest to educate our children and support them in every way we can. Make our schools a model of calm and thoughtful discussion rooms where each and every student can be the best he or she can be. Thank you also, good Lord, for the 50th anniversary on the March on Washington. We appreciate the courage, wisdom, and direction these courageous and brave people pushed our country in. Help us to remember we always must respect everyone's rights to live, work, and retire in our great country. And help us to be thankful of the people that came before us and how everything we do on this board and any other political office is based on the sacrifices and hard work of others who came before us. Amen. In accordance with the Code of Ethics adopted by this board, it's the duty of every board member to avoid both conflicts and potential conflicts of interest. Does any board member have any known conflict of interest with any matter coming before us today? If not, we'll proceed. We'll start off with public comment. The time limit for any comment to the board is 3 minutes. If your time expires, you may leave questions along with your name, address, phone number, or email with the county manager. Board members are not expected to comment on matters during public comment. Comments should be limited to subjects that are within the jurisdiction of the commission or pertain to matters upon which we may act. Any individual speaking during public comment shall address the entire board. Any polling of board members is inappropriate. Persons addressing the commission are expected to observe the decorum of the chamber and to be respectful of everyone in the room. Any person who willfully interrupts, disturbs, disrupts the session will be asked to leave the meeting. And the commission reserves the right to deny public address on any subject previously presented to the board. Is there any public comment tonight? Mr. English.
My name's Fred English. I live out in Hall Creek. I'd like to say something about my friend Bill over there. This is Buncombe County history. In the early 50s, me and Bill was in the 82nd Airborne Division together at Fort Bragg. He was a military policeman, and I had a few beers. Bill was a whole lot older than me, and he'd show me the way to go home. Right, Mr. Bill? The reason I'm here is tax increases and pay raises. The value on my property went up. My taxes went up, city and county, and some kind of recreational bull crap they throw in there. And I don't think it looks good for me to have to increase my tax $200 a year, and you guys get a pay raise. Every one of you people work somewhere and got good jobs and make good money. That does not look right to the people of the county of Buncombe and the city of Asheville or anywhere else. Y'all needed a pay raise like Barack Obama needs a vacation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reynolds. Any other public comment tonight? Mr. Rice?
See you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I couldn't say it better. He just got a few words, but he knows how to say it. He's older man, so I'll respect it and say ditto. I do appreciate Mr. Stanley's service to his country as well as any honorable person that's ever been in the service. I had a brother to die in World War II, and I know what a painful thing it was for our family. For years, even years later. So it's never forgotten, they will never be forgotten. And thank you, Bill. Two concerns. One is on the CRA. If you appoint 4 commissioners to head this thing up to start with, do the paperwork, you're in control. Because they ain't 7 members. Then when you appoint the board, you're going to have 3 members or more. You're still in control regardless. So what the CRA amounts to is Buncombe County has got a culture and recreation authority, and it's theirs. They're going to control it. Because if you're going to do the appointment of the board and listen to the conversations where they should go on there, you need to let this be an independent, somebody doing it other than you commissioners. Because I think it's conflict of interest. I don't care what the law says. And I think you need to look into that. Because to me, it ain't nothing but the fox guarding the hen house. I want you to look after my money, but I don't want you to say it's independent authority and then control everything. You just lying to the public. The other thing is broadcasting and videoing and recording in certain places. I haven't read all this yet. I haven't even read it. But just the statement, and I talked to Mike Crew, the attorney, and talked to him about some questions, but my concern is this. If you put this into a situation that you can't do this, then I want to know why that you move the county manager up onto the floor with the director of DSS on the floor, where you have got a conflict of interest right there because the county manager should be speaking for the county and be accessible to people. And if you put her in that office, everybody's going to have to go through DSS, and you're right into the conflicts of the confidentiality of people. So why put her in that position to be moved into that area where she is right now? So I think she needs to be moved down on the floor with the county commissioners, and that's where she should remain, and it should be where people can access her. Not that I would violate anything, I know what confidentiality is, but she should be accessible to the public. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Rock. Any other public comment today? All right, if none, then we'll ask for a motion to follow the agenda with the addition of the salary discussions under new business and the announcement I'm going to make about the county attorney's resignation. Is there a motion to follow the agenda with those additions? Motion by Commissioner King, second by Commissioner Newman. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. And we will follow the agenda as amended, and we have approved the consent agenda items. Good news, we have a real honor today to have probably, I'm not sure if he's the longest serving, but he's up there. I think he was, and maybe our clerk can tell us for sure, but 24-year veteran of this board, just a icon of Asheville. Somebody who's done every good thing that's gone on in Buncombe County, Bill Stanley's had a hand in it. That's just the easy way to say it. He's here today with his wife Jane, and I'll let Kathy Hughes finish up the introduction of someone that we all have great respect for.
Amen. That was a good introduction, Chairman Gant. Thank you. He was the longest serving commissioner with Buncombe County for sure. And when he announced his retirement, that he was going to not run again, we decided back in the summer of last year to take a walk down memory lane. And Bill and I sat, and since I had spent my 24 years with him on the board, we had a good time. We sat and we discussed his life in public service and 24 years of that here. And as some of you new ones know, it's not a fun time all the time, and there were lots of times we talked about, some of it made it to tape and some of it didn't, but it was interesting, and my time with him was wonderful. That evidently related to video very well, because then we submitted that video to NC3C, which is North Carolina City and County Communicators Association, and won. And so that is what we want to present him today, with the award that we won for that video. And since that time, I've heard from several other counties who wanted to mimic what we did, and saying that that was a great way to look at history and look at their commissioners as they leave, and to record what they've seen and the changes that they've seen across the time that they were there. And so if Commissioner Stanley would come, we would give him this award, and then I'm sure he would like to say something. And I won't say no the next, I promise. As long as you want to.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
You are
Thank you,
welcome.
you did the work.
You did great.
And folks, I thank you for having me up here. We didn't know about this. Of course, Madam Clerk did all the work on that. She had all I did and answer her questions. And she asked all the right ones. I say evidently we gave them pretty good answers, I think. You know, and the thing I messed up on, I've heard from it from about 6 or 7 of them. I couldn't remember all the members of the band that played for me over that place for about 10 years. I couldn't think of Steve Sutton's name and some others. But she had me shook up out there, man. I like to say this is impressive. Y'all are impressive up there. And it really looked good. I'm proud I was a part of having something to put all this together. We beat Greg probably every other day trying to get it ready, I guess. But they did a great job. We got a fantastic maintenance staff, got a great staff all over the place here. But the mayor of Hall Creek left there, so I can't say he'll respond to him, but I think I put him in jail 3 or 4 times. But that was a good time down there. Of course, where my wife's from that end of the state, and we've been hanging around each other since 1950 or better. And been a good ride for us. But I've enjoyed my time here, no question about that. And y'all, and people ask me, they say, Bill, what do you think of the new board? I said, well, they're fine. They're doing real good. Well, Bill, they're as good as you are? I said they're doing real good. I didn't say that. You didn't hear all of that. I didn't say they were great. Think about it. But folks, thank you kindly. And Madam Clerk, you need to keep this in y'all's awards. I don't need this at home. I mean, I love it, but we all need to have this on put it on your shelf down there or whatever. But thank you so much for recognizing that we did good work. Thank you, and number next.
Commissioner Stanley was president of the State Association and could have been president of the National. I often wonder how that would have been, because I know every time we go to national conventions to this day, Bill, they ask about it.
We probably should have taken that on way back here.
You'd have gotten it, I have no doubt, because that was quite a thing. It's like being with a rock star. Every time we go out to a convention, I loved it, Bill, and I know we miss you. Next, we have Commissioner Belcher is going to give a presentation honoring Korean War veterans, of which Commissioner Stanley was, of course, a vet. And he's going to give this to Jeff Foster, who came up with the idea. And I see you could introduce everybody. Jeff, thank you for the great idea. We appreciate you coming
It's my pleasure to present this proclamation, the County of Buncombe honoring Korean War veterans. Whereas on this, the 60th anniversary of the military armistice agreement signed at the end of the Korean War, we honor all who served in the Korean War and pay lasting tribute to the brave men and women who gave their lives for our nation. And whereas through 3 years of combat, American service members and Allied forces overcame some of the most unforgiving conditions in modern warfare, weathering bitter winters and punishing heat. And whereas we honor our citizens who served, including the tens of thousands of Americans who gave their lives defending a country they had never known and a people they had never met. Their legacy lives on not only in the hearts of the American people, but in the Republic of Korea that is free and prosperous, in a world that is safer for their service. And whereas shortly after the military armistice agreements was signed, President Dwight D. Eisenhower noted that with special feelings of sorrow and of solemn gratitude, we thank those of who were called upon to lay down their lives in that far-off land to prove once again that only courage and sacrifice can keep freedom alive upon the earth. And whereas now 6 decades later, we renew that call to honor and reflect. Let us keep faith with our Korean War veterans by upholding the ideals they fought to protect and by supporting them with the care and respect they so deeply deserve. Now therefore, be it proclaimed by the Board of Commissioners for the County of Buncombe as follows, that this board does hereby acknowledge and honor the 60th anniversary of the end of the Korean War, and in doing does hereby call upon all Buncombe County citizens to observe this anniversary with appropriate honor and gratitude to our distinguished Korean War veterans. That this proclamation be effective upon its adopted this 27th day of August 2013, Board of Commissioners for the County of Buncombe, signed by Chairman David Gann. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Certainly would like to thank the board. You certainly put into words much better than I could as a representative of the Buncombe County Republican Men's Club. Just the great debt of gratitude we do owe these fine folks, that many of whom gave their life in a war that is often referred to as the Forgotten War. So Commissioner Stanley, as representative of those who are here today, we certainly appreciate the things that you've done for our country and the representation that you have for us today of those who could not be here also. So thank you, Commissioners, for doing this, and I think it does Buncombe County good to make this proclamation, and I appreciate your efforts to do so. So thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. All right, next up we have Greg Israel, Buncombe County Manager's Report. Do you have any for Greg? All right, Greg Israel is going to give us an energy update. Mr. Israel, thank you for being here, and thank you for your tireless work keeping us running.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, this is actually a update on an energy audit that we have going on right now in Buncombe County. And I haven't been before you since we implemented this, so I kind of want to back up and give you just the 2 minutes of how we got to where we're at. So at the last meeting where I presented, we saw how our efforts are kind of flatlining, and that we're, due to all our best efforts, we've hit that plateau, and we're having trouble getting our numbers to fall again. So it was decided that we needed to look and see what we could do. So I started out by talking to the North Carolina Department of Energy. I met with the Federal Department of Energy and the NC State College Department of Energy. And when I explained to them where I was at, most of them, this is a catchphrase I've learned to hate, they said, "Oh, you've picked all the low-hanging fruit." And, you know, we went past that years ago. So when I explained where we're at, they reviewed our data to a T. All of them said, "You need to go further than we can take you right now." So they suggested that we contract with a firm that specialized in higher-level energy audits. Did some research, read some ASHRAE Level 3 audits online, And we decided that's what we needed to do. So we sent out an RFQ, we got 14 responses back, and started talking to these folks, and we told them we wanted the level 3 audit, which is, it's the highest level you can get. It's just comprehensive. It goes through the whole building inside out and identifies all potential energy control measures that we could put in place. But we told them on top of that, we wanted them to bring us back a detailed plan that we could implement that just clicked off year by year, and we asked them to create a 10-year plan of how we could implement these measures that they found. So that cut about 70% of the field right there. They weren't interested in going any further. So we conducted interviews, and we contracted with Shaw Environmental Group out of Charlotte, and been real impressed with them. We contracted with them to do 782,000 square feet of facilities at a cost of $111,000. But Shaw came to the table with $45,000 worth of incentive money from Duke Energy. So we're actually getting an ASHRAE level 3 audit of 780,000 square feet for around $60,000, which is a great deal if compared to what you read online. So that kind of tells us what got us into this. So where we are now, the audit runs July through October, and in the first 2 weeks, Shaw Environmental came up. We paired them up with, there was 3 of them, 3 of us, and they did the initial site surveys. And basically, it's just getting acquainted with the building. So they went and walked every square foot of these buildings, over 10 of them, let me get that on the list, and just got a general knowledge of what was going on. During that same period, the finance department provided them with all the utility bill data we have and the way we got it compiled. And we provided all the plans and specifications for the building. So that took them back, and they came back the second 2 weeks, and they did a site-specific and energy-specific assessment. So they digested that data, came back, and then they wanted to look at specifics. They did that for 2 weeks. So that kind of brings us up to today. On August 21st, we entered a 35-day period of when we won't see them anymore. They're back at their offices, they're pouring over all this data. And on October the 10th, they're going to come back with a draft report to me. And basically, it's going to be a laundry list of everything they've identified. And at that point, we're supposed to go through it, and I can throw things out. I can say, well, what about this? You didn't check this. They'll take that in, and they'll spend about a week doing that. Then they're going to deliver me a final report. That's just the report on what they found. On October the 16th, we will meet, and it's called the capital planning meeting. That's where we're going to decide what we want in this 10-year plan and how we want it staged in that 10-year plan. And I talked to them when we first started this, and they reviewed all of our data. And I gave them a specific target number each year I wanted to hit in reductions. And they were very honest and upfront. They said, we're not sure with y'all's previous efforts that we can provide that. But, we're going to have to get really innovative to meet what you want. So when they come back with this capital planning report, I expect that they'll meet what we're asking for, but they've let us know it's not going to be an easy task to get to. When the capital report comes back, it will have the plan, it'll have the cost associated with the plan, and it'll be broken down. You can look at year 5, and it should allow for inflation, it should allow for everything. So in year 5, it'll say you need to spend X number of dollars if you want to accomplish year 5. But the thing about this plan is, the way I'm having it set up, we need to build on it. You need to do year 1. Year 1 makes year 2 possible. Year 2 makes year 3 possible. So at the very least, if we decide not to implement that plan, we're going to have a great list of stuff we can do on our own time frame for a much reduced price than a level 3 audit that we would normally pay for. So we've got about 60% of the cost in a level 3 audit that will deliver us all of our energy measures we can implement. And then we can also go forward with this detailed plan if we want to. So saying that, sometime November, December, whenever the board meets, that's when I'm thinking this will be compiled into something that I can actually set before you and say, here's what we got for our money.
I'm sorry, Greg, can you repeat what, I didn't quite hear, what dates did you say that would be on?
They're supposed to have me the capital report delivered October 21st. So I'm thinking, I don't know what y'all's schedule will be in November and December, so I'm saying November, December, we should be able to bring you a report.
Any questions, comments?
I'll just make a couple of comments. I think it's, I think this is pretty exciting. In our retreat where we talked about building on what the county's already been doing in terms of energy management for our facilities and setting a really ambitious but hopefully very achievable long-term goal. This is, you know, a lot of us talk about setting goals, trying to do things, but then they adopt some resolutions and then they don't necessarily, you know, translate into an actual execute on plans that actually make it happen. And so it seems like this is exactly the kind of analysis and planning work that needs to be done to develop a really ambitious but also very specific and achievable plan. So I think it's great. I really look forward to seeing the information and seeing what ideas they come up with for all of these different public facilities that we're responsible for. So I think it sounds like a great process for looking at where we go in the coming years.
And I do very much appreciate y'all taking this approach to it, because if you read on the internet, you can read so many failed efforts, and it comes forth from a you know, it's a true heart, and but it comes out of passion. We will do this, and we will accomplish this by this date, but they don't have anything. They say, okay, now go figure out how we do it. We're going about the right way. We're going to figure out the plan and make sure that we can be successful in what we're doing before we move on.
So once you receive that information, then you'll be able to set realistic goals and give them the return back to the county and to.
I'll be able to tell you how much money it's going to cost and how soon we'll earn it back through savings.
That's great.
I'll tell you, tell a story on Greg. Last year before last, we went to a convention, and I came back, and it seemed like Charlotte had done a lot. They have the energy companies there, and they're trying to be a model city on energy. And I'm real excited because some of the consultants were in Charlotte. And Greg can remember, I brought him up here, and I said, well, let's talk to Greg Israel and see what we're doing. And I thought, well, there'll be a lot of things that they'll tell them we need to do. And they were real excited about moving the ball down the road, and they really have a lot of programs. And they came and talked to Greg, and it's kind of like, Greg, can you come work with us? You know what you're doing all these things. And Greg's a real quiet guy. You don't toot your horn. But they told me, I've never had anybody have it together like you do, and you're real quiet about it, so we don't hear it. So I know it's like pulling teeth to get you to brag on yourself, or at least tell us what you're doing on energy. But I want to thank you for that, because it really opened my eyes as to what you've already done. And we always want to squeeze and get more out of the toothpaste, but I want to thank you for what you've done. And the way you're doing it, like Commissioner Newman said, it makes a lot of sense to do it that way instead of just throw something out there and see if it sticks. So thank you.
I appreciate that, and I appreciate y'all supporting what I do.
Well, I learned about some professionals that we're doing pretty good, and we want to keep it moving. It was almost like the adopt a string thing that I've told y'all about many times, and I won't go over that story again. It was an aha moment for me. Thank you, Greg. Any other questions? Okay. Next up, under new business, I think we've added a discussion of our cost of living increase portion of our salary. And I'll recognize Dr. Green to tell us a little bit of background, and then we'll have a little discussion.
Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, I had to count how many budgets I had done as I was getting ready for this. This latest budget was my 20th budget, and over the time, we, for a long time, did COLAs. And a few years ago, moved to a consumer price index adjustment that's measured at the end of December. And in all 20 of my budgets that we brought you, what we've done for the employees, we have done for the commissioners during the budget ordinance. And we set your salaries during that ordinance. And that's what I brought forward in the budget ordinance that you adopted a few weeks ago. It did include a 1.7% CPI adjustment that was measured at the end of December, and it's the same that the employees got. The employees can get theirs in April, but we adjust yours in July. When you look at what that equates to, for the commissioners, it equated to $450 a year, or $8.65 a week. It's a minuscule portion of our budget. In your governing body budgets, it's 3/1000th of a percent. It's just too small to measure in the overall budget. It's, the total increase was $3,367. It's very much not just our policy to do CPI, but it's been our practice for the 20 years to just go ahead and adjust commissioner salaries too by the same CPI indicator. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have about how we've done this or anything that you'd like to know about our history around that.
All right. This is something we put on the agenda by consent of all 7. Does anybody have any questions at this point or any comments? Since it is on the agenda, it is appropriate. If there's any motions, we can entertain them. Okay. Go ahead, Dave.
I would like a quick comment on this. We spent a lot of time the past few days discussing this, an inordinate amount of time actually. And as I looked at this and I had to weigh, what is the impact of the county with this? And I think none of us thought of ourselves as employees, so it kind of slipped by us. So had we been voting on it, we would have voted, all of us would have voted no on this. And so as I look at this and I look at what is at stake here, not a great deal in terms of money. Mine works out to 79 cents a day. So at hand, some people are going to decide they don't want to do this on a matter of principle. A principle with me is, are we going to let the news media set the agenda and drive this, or are we going to do it? And I think I have a problem with that. This board will decide what this board does, not the news media. But
Thank you.
Chairman, can I make a motion to give each commissioner the right to decline the consumer price index increase annual adjustment to their salary effective immediately?
Second.
Been a motion, second. Is there any discussion?
So, in order to do this, it would take, just very simply, if you chose annually to not accept this, or if you chose not to accept this, then you would simply email your tax bar form or whatever, and then we just don't get it, or we do get it. Either way, right? That simple.
If you send me an email, we'll go through HR and do the appropriate personnel action forms. In the future, as we're doing budgets, I'll have that discussion with you.
So this will, the story has got a little bit too far out, and as I've told, there's nothing against any commissioner here. I'm just the one commissioner that wants to stay the same for the next 4 years, and that's what I asked for once this story broke in the newspaper. And, it's like I said, it's not a lot of money, but the fact is when I ran on a platform, and I have to stay with my platform and for the people. So, no bias against anyone. Anyone can keep it. I think anyone ought to have an opportunity to drop it if they want to, and I think this is the easiest way to do it.
This motion certainly gives us that option.
Okay, any other discussion or comments? It's a motion by Commissioner Frost, a second by Commissioner Belcher. Is there any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. Motion passes 7-0. Thank you. We are now on to board appointments. We have elected during our pre-session to defer the Tourism Development Authority appointments. We now have 3 vacancies, and we will be doing that appointment on our next meeting, I believe, the 17th. We'll also be interviewing these representatives on that date also. Is there a nomination for the Land Conservation Advisory Board?
I'll nominate
Chuck Kleiner's been nominated. Any other nominations? All those in favor of appointing former City Councilman Kleiner to the Land Conservation Advisory Board, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. He is so appointed. We have the Cultural and Recreation Authority. We're not going to do appointments today. We are going to choose at our next meeting, which will be September 17th, who we're going to interview, and then we'll actually interview those men and women on October 1. Airport Authority, there's one vacancy. We have 6 vacancies on the Cultural and Recreation Authority. I suspect that some of those will be filled by commissioners. The Airport Authority has 1 vacancy with the deadline of August 30th. Now I would like to,
Chairman,
yes, sir.
one question on culture.
Mhm.
When do we, before we interview, don't you think we ought to make a decision on how many is going to be part of the Buncombe County, or this board on the cultural committee?
Yes, I would say, my recommendation would be that we maybe make that decision either on the 17th or on the 1st when we appoint them. 17th?
Yeah, I think we ought to do it early, that way we'll agree appointing whatever we appoint.
Okay.
That
Is
way,
that all right there, Brian?
everybody has a number.
17th? Okay, 17th, then, that's what it's thinking. All right, on behalf of the commission, I'd like to announce that the county is expanding our resources with regard to legal services to more efficiently and effectively address commission staff, economic development, and constituent issues. We've identified the need to provide expert legal counsel leadership to both the commission and staff, and as such, we've created a very important position of senior staff legal counsel to work directly with the county departments in addressing the critical issues that will accomplish important opportunities and provide the legal reference and guidance necessary to resolve any issues in as prompt a manner as possible. In addition, we will add a part-time legal position to provide those services typically provided by a county attorney to directly provide legal counsel and address legal issues as needed for the commission itself. In order to accomplish the transition, we would like to thank Michael Frew for recognizing the important responsibilities and depth of service necessary to assist senior staff and for agreeing to transition into this critical role. For Mr. Frew to serve in this role, it was necessary that he resign one position in order to take the new one. I'd like to read Mr. Frew's letter of resignation outlining this transition into the record. Dated August 13, 2013. Mr. Chairman and members of the board, on September 1, 2009, I had the honor of being appointed Buncombe County Attorney. For the last 4 years, I've been proud to serve the Commission and the people of our county in this capacity. With this letter, I am tendering my resignation, effective August 13, 2013, as County Attorney, in order to assume the much-needed responsibilities of Senior Staff Attorney for the county and its departments. In my years with Buncombe County, and prior to my appointment as County Attorney, I spent a great deal of time getting to know and earning the trust of Buncombe County Department directors and senior management. I recognize that their responsibilities on behalf of our citizens are vitally important. I believe that I can bring the highest order of legal counsel and professionalism to their endeavors as we work together to forward these projects and initiatives that will increase quality of life for all of our communities. I will continue to assist the county through this transition as needed. I look forward to working closely with senior county management and directors by providing the very important legal expertise necessary to accomplish a host of specific projects that are vital to the future of our county. Signed, Michael Frew. We will be advertising for 2 weeks. We have advertisements in the local bar. We also will be putting an advertisement in the governing in various publications, I believe, Madam Clerk. Is that right? The job description, I'll go ahead and read this in the title. The title will be County Attorney Temporary Part-Time Position. Salary range will be $4,000 per month. The cutoff date will be September 11, 2013. The job description will be served as the Chief Legal Advisor for the Buncombe County Board of Commissioners, reporting directly to the board, primary duties including attending regular monthly meetings of the board, review and approve as to form, agenda, items, ordinances, resolutions, and other board-related business. Maintains knowledge of and keeps the commission current of changes in federal and state legislation and case law as it applies to counties. Prepares legal opinions for the board and answers legal inquiries from county commissioners as needed. Must be licensed to practice law with an extensive experience as a practicing attorney. local government law experience preferred. So that's what we're going to do. We have appointed a group of commissioners to oversee and help advise us on this transition, and they will be reporting to us as needed. Okay, the next meeting of our board will be September 17, 2013, beginning at 4:30 p.m. We have canceled the September 3rd meeting. Commission meetings can be seen anytime on VCTV Charter Channel 2, ATT Channel 99, or online anytime at buncombecounty.org/VCTV. Mr. Acting Attorney, Mr. Euler, do we have any closed session business tonight?
Yes, one item that we discussed, and that we spoke with an attorney employed by the county about manners with.
Can you hear back here?
I'm sorry, that would be to consult with an attorney employed by the county about matters with respect to which the attorney-client privilege between the county and its attorney must be preserved, including, and in this case, it's litigation involving the county, and there is one item that we need to discuss. And that would be pursuant to General Statute 143-318.11A.
In respect to the action to be taken? I no action. All right. Then is there a motion to go into closed session? Motion by Vice Chair Jones, second by Commissioner Fryer. Is there any discussion? Then we will be in closed session. Thank you.
Get it?
They get to decide each one, every year.
Thank you.
Right now, he was serving on the board. He was serving on the board full-time. Right, you gotta talk about it. Tough job. Maybe going after it, everything.
All right, I can't talk to you about it. I get that.
Okay, I think we're all here. I would like to read one more thing in the record before I take is there a motion to go back into open session? Motion by Commissioner Frost, second by Vice Chair Jones. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're back in session. I did neglect to read one page, and I'll read it very quickly. The commission would like to express our sincere appreciation to Mr. Frill on his past, present, future excellent legal guidance and his recognition of how important this new role will be. As part of the transition, we will immediately post notice and advertisement for part-time legal services to serve our commission under the terms I mentioned earlier. So I want to get that in there. Is there any other business before the commission today? Now, is there a motion to adjourn? Motion by Vice Chair Jones, second by Commissioner Newman. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. 7-0 vote, we are adjourned. Thank you. Next meeting, September 17th.